In this lecture, we'll work on APIs. So we'll learn how we can use RESTful APIs in our project and how we can manipulate APIs and fetch the data that we want. Okay, so first things first, what is an API? If we have to fetch the data from the server, then we'll have to send the request, and that request is a form of API. So in this lecture, we'll send a request API on the server, and then we'll try to fetch the data from that server. So for that, the RESTful API we are using is a Pokemon API. So this API provides us the details of all Pokemon and tells us like which Pokemon is present on what number. Alright, so we'll try to integrate the API of this website. So now we'll go to our VS Code and we'll make a component with the name of Pokemon.js. Okay, so now we'll import React on it, which is our normal boilerplate. So we'll make a function and we'll name it Pokemon. So our function has been created. Now we'll give a heading h1 Pokemon. Okay, we'll import it on our function. We'll export it there, export default Pokemon, and then we'll call the function. So now our component has been rendered. Okay, we'll check it. Yes, it's working. So basically we want to select option that whatever number we select, then on that number, whichever Pokemon is present on it, it should be fetched for us. So we're making a select option. The first option value will be 1. We'll copy it and we'll paste 5 times, and we'll give them the numbering of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 respectively. So our select option has been created. Now we'll put its value num. We'll give a function and we'll define it. So we'll import use state from React. OnChange is a parameter which we'll name it event. Okay, we'll copy this value, we'll paste it, we'll write event.target.value. Now whatever value will be selected by the user, then that value will be changed automatically. So basically when the onChange function will run, then this setNum will be updated and its value will be changed. Okay, so now I'll write here h1 you choose num value. So here no value has been defined for use state, so we'll have to define it so that we get the initial value. Okay, we'll check on the browser without giving any value, and as you can see, whatever value we are selecting, we are getting the value. Okay, you can select how we can update the value with the help of use state. So this is all happening dynamically. Alright, so that's pretty much it for this lecture, and now on to the next one, in which we'll learn how to fetch the data. Okay, so we'll continue the project. We'll try to fetch the data and to display it on our website. So to do that, we already have done our basic things. So now we want that when we click on any number, the Pokemon name should be displayed if it's present on that number. Like different Pokemons are present on different numbers. And yeah, so basically that's what we're looking to do. We have already made the UL, so now we'll try to fetch the RESTful API, and to do that we'll install the package of npm. We'll go to axio-npm and we'll install Axio package in our project. So to do that we'll use this command npm install axios, as it helps us to fetch our APIs. So we'll copy it and we'll paste it in the terminal. We'll install it, and okay, so it's already installed. That's why I don't need it to do. I don't need to do it, like it's already installed. Alright, let me show you in the package.json where it is. Okay, as you can see, I already have the Axio version in my project, so I can use it. Alright, if you don't have it, then you need to install it. So if you don't have it installed, basically, then you can add the npm install axios in your dependencies. Okay, now we'll try to fetch the data. So the data we're trying to fetch will be through this URL. So this is the simple URL, but this number will define which Pokemon is present on this number. Like the Ditto is present on number 0, the Pikachu is present on number 1, and so on. So now we want that when our page renders for the first time, then this data should display there. So to do that, we'll use the use effect. We've already learned the concept of use effect. That is like it runs when your page renders for the first time, so that the data which will be available will display. Okay, so we'll put the useEffect function, and we'll have a callback function. So we'll make a function, and when the function runs, then the data which will be present will be given to us. So we'll make async function. Okay, we use it when we have to send a request to the server, and basically we wait for the response back for the request. Alright, so we'll name async function as getData. In this one, we'll make a variable with the name of response. Whenever you'll use async, then you have to use await keyword. Alright, so what are we waiting for? Basically, we're just waiting for the APIs. So we'll fetch Pokemon API with the help of the package of Axios we have installed, and we'll use the get to fetch it. So I'll copy the API from here and I'll paste it. I told you that the URL will be the same, but this number will define the Pokemon name. So we want this number to be dynamic, as we'll change this number through use state. Okay, so I used the backtick to update this number. If you are using the backtick, then you'll have to use the $sign. So basically, when you will select any number, then here the number will be updated. Like if we select 1, and then here we'll get 1, and when the request will be made, and we'll get the details of Pokemon present on 1. So let me show you. I'll call the function getData. We'll write console.log res. So we have to import the Axios. Let me inspect that we're getting the data or not, if we are getting it or not. So as you can see, we're getting an object, and the request we've sent has appeared in the browser. So as you can see, it's showing that the Pokemon Bulbasaur is present at ID 1. If you put 2 and C, we are getting Ivysaur. So we've done it statistically, but now I want to do it dynamically, such that when we select the number, we fetch the data automatically. So to do that, we'll write num and put $. Now we'll select the number and we'll get the details of Pokemon present on that number. If you want to get only the name of Pokemon, then we'll go to data and response, and we'll have to fetch the data. So we'll write res.data.name and we save it. So if you select 2, then we're getting this Pokemon. We have to display it here. Okay, so we'll take h1 tag on select, and we'll write my name is, open brackets, close brackets. Alright, as we got the name, but we have to save it as well. So to do that, we'll make a variable, and let's see how we can continue with this project. So we'll continue in the next lecture. Let's move on. Okay, so in this lecture, we'll continue our project, which we were learning on how to fetch the data from Pokemon website. So we display Pokemon on the basis of number. There is a huge number of Pokemon's data available on this website, so we can fetch the data from APIs. The main reason of showing this project is to give you a basic concept on how to fetch the data through API and to display it here. So I've already showed you like how to fetch the data. I'll write console.log res, and in this way we can get real-time data through API. So in this tutorial we'll show the name and the move of Pokemon on the basis of these numbers. So for displaying the names and moves of Pokemon, we'll write console.log res.data.name, and then we'll make another use state, name, set name, and we'll define use state. Okay, so we'll do the same for moves, and we'll define set moves. Okay, now we'll get the data, and we'll have to take out the name of the data. So and yeah, like we'll store it in a variable, and the same goes for the moves as well. As the API runs, we'll get more new data, and then we'll change the new data in state. So this is the benefit of use state. It's that we can change the real-time data constantly. So this React hook is very useful to manage the real-time data. Okay, so we'll remove it, and we'll write set name res data name, as whenever we'll get new set name, then this variable will be called and then its value will be updated. So we'll do the same with set moves, and we'll write res.data.moves. Okay, now we'll take the h1 tag, in which we'll write my name is span, and we'll define a name. So we'll take another h1 tag, in which we'll write I have span, and we'll define moves. So let me do a little inline styling as well. So to do that, we'll take span and we'll put this as, we'll put this in the span tag. So I'll do inline styling to make it a little presentable. So we'll put it in the span. I'll write console.log, open brackets, res.data.moves, close brackets. And as you can see, you didn't get anything here because we are getting an array in the form of moves. So as the length is 90, like since the length is 90, so we have to show 90 moves. All right, so we'll put the length. Now we'll save it and display it. I clicked on 2 and it's showing me the name and moves of Pokemon. Okay, like this we can get the details of all the Pokemons. All right, so you can see how we fetch the real-time data through an API. We simply call the API directly and display the data. So if you want to use the get method, then you have to use XQS. You have to use the async function, and if you want your function to wait until you don't get responses, then your async function will respond properly. So let me change the number, and as you can see what we're getting on 5, so we're getting Charmeleon Pokemon on 5, so we're replacing it with 25. Now we'll save it and we'll view it. So as you can see, we're getting Pikachu on the 25. And if we reply 25 with 15, then we are getting Beedrill Pokemon. So I took just 5, but you can fetch the data of every Pokemon. Okay, so these hooks are really powerful. Like use effect that you just reload the page. Okay, but this function will run and give you the data. Use effect gives the data just after getting rendered. So you can see how values are getting dynamically changed through use state. Okay, I'm basically telling you that the hooks of React are very powerful, especially when you fetch APIs through any website or server and what to display on the website. Okay, I hope this project was helpful to you and that it made things clearer. So when you go for some other professional projects and like in your professional career, then you'll get to know that there are a lot of websites from which you have to fetch real-time data. It could be like the stock market, stock data, the weather, or any other type of data that you need to fetch in a real-time manner. So these methods will be helpful to you at that time, like when you need it to, when you need to fetch your data, like your real-time data. All right, so I think this project is enough for now, just for you to get the basic understanding of how all of this works. And yeah, so that's pretty much it for this lecture. And now on to the next one. Okay, so in this lecture, we'll see the map function of the array looping. Okay, I think you already have a basic concept of the map function, but if you don't have any idea about it, so I'll show you like how it works. The main purpose of this lecture is for you to learn how we can use the map function in JSX elements and how powerful it is for the rendering of the information in JSX elements. So first of all, we'll revise the map function. Okay, so the syntax of map function is array.map. So basically, we have 3 arguments in array.map. The first argument is the current value. The current value is like when we have an array and we're doing a loop on it. So the value we're getting from each loop is the current value. The second argument is index. So what is the index argument? If we're doing a loop on the array and did our first loop, so our index will be 0. This is how we can get a track of the index of the array through this argument. So the third argument is of array. Let's suppose we are making arrays and that we do the mapping of the arrays. Now, if we lose track of the arrays, we will not have the intended result of what we wanted to do. So if you don't want to lose track, you need to use this argument. Basically, this argument works when we have more than one array and we are looping, and when we are looping over them. So that's when you use the argument. It helps you map the arrays. Okay, so first of all, we'll make an array. Okay, then we'll input the information of people in this array, and then we'll render it here. So we are making an array with the name array, and we're going to make objects in this array. So now we're making the first object, in which we'll put the name of first person, John. We'll write his expertise, front-end developer, and his experience, 3 years. So our object has John. Okay, so this is created. Okay, we'll make another object in which we'll name, we'll call it like Mark. We'll write his expertise, back-end developer, and his experience, 4 years. So the third object name would be Sarah, expertise, DevOps, engineer, and experience, 6 years. Okay, so our array has been made in which we have like 3 objects, and in these objects we have different information. Okay, now we'll try to render the data of every person in JSX element through looping. So to do that, we'll take the h1 tag, in which we'll write personal information. Now we'll check our server, and yes, it's working. So now we'll make a map function, and as we are using JavaScript, that's why we'll have to use expression. Okay, so to do that, we'll make an array and we'll use map function in it. If we have to render h1, okay, so if it will loop like 1 time, then we'll get the object. In the object, we need the name property, so we'll try to access the name through object. Okay, so we had to put the h1 tag outside, so we'll remove it from here, and now we'll check if it can access it or not. So it's still showing errors, apparently, yeah, like we have to return the value. Okay, so when a function is made, then we always have to return the value. Now, as you can see, it's showing us John, Mark, and Sarah. When it loops the first name, we get John, Mark, and Sarah. And when it loops the second time, then we'll get Mark. It will keep on looping till we don't get the end of the array. So if we remove it and write expertise, then we are getting expertise. If we write experience, then you can see that we start getting experience. So this was the basic concept on how you loop the array through map function and can be rendering the elements here. Okay, I hope you got the basic concept of how all of this works. You can display the information and how, yeah, like I hope you understood how you can display the information with the help of the map function. All right, and now on to the next lecture. In this tutorial, I'll show you how you can use the Material UI. So in React, there are different icons and avatars in your project. This library of Material UI is very useful. With its help, you can use different icons, fonts, and avatars. You can do it through CDN as well, but I'll tell you like how you can install it in your project and use it in your own project. Okay, so we'll go to our VS Code and we'll stop our project by pressing Ctrl+C. As you can see, it has terminated. So now we are in our first application and we have to install it in package.json. So this is their website, and in this they have told us how to install it in React and the React project. Okay, so if you are using the npm, then you have to use this one, and if you are using the yarn, then you can install this one. Okay, so we'll copy it and we'll paste it here, and then we click on enter. So it has been installed now. The dependencies will be installed and will be present in package.json file. So it may take some time as all the content will move to in the package.json file. Okay, if we have to use different components, then it is possible to do it through it. So there are usage available as well, in which we'll get to know how to use it in our project. Okay, as the installation has been completed, the dependencies of Material UI have been stored here. Now we'll go back to installation and we'll install the second one, styles component in our project. Okay, we'll copy and paste it here. We're getting ready-made templates as well. If you want, then you can get ready-made source code. So it's very helpful when you don't want to write like lengthy codes. So you can get like ready-made source codes from here. Okay, the dashboard is available. If you're making an e-commerce store and you need a dashboard in which you have to keep information regarding your product, so customers and orders, then you can use a dashboard like this, for example. Okay, so there are multiple source codes available. You just have to import these into your project. Okay, it's still installing, so usually it doesn't take like that much time usually. And yeah, so premium templates are available as well. It's useful when you're making a professional website, so you just have to take this website template and then integrate it. Okay, so it's a very useful library. Okay, our second dependencies have been installed. Now we'll install the third dependencies, which we'll use for icons. So we'll copy and we'll paste it here. Now it has started the installation. Okay, all of our dependencies are now installed. We got all the dependencies to use Material UI in our system. We got in package.json file. So now we'll try to integrate components and icons in our system. For that, we'll go to the website of Material UI and we'll go to font icons. And as you can see, there are huge numbers of icons available. You can use them in your project. So you can search for anything that you're looking for and you'll get like something related to it. So for example, like now I'm searching for email and I got icons related to email. To use it, we'll copy it and then we'll paste it in our project. So basically, we'll write it in expression. If you want to render it, then we'll write email icon, we save it, and then we'll start the application. So we can select different colors and sizes as well. If you're searching for phone, for example, then you'll get icons related to phone. The icons of phone are like various. They come in different types and shapes. So we have a variety, outlined, filled, rounded, etc. In short, we have a lot of variety. You just have to import them in your application. So now our development server is getting started. Then we'll be able to render it out to our page. So yeah, like the email icon which we have imported is showing an error. The mistake was that we were not supposed to put it in expressions. Okay, now my icon have been displayed. So if I want to use another icon, then I'll copy and paste it here. Then I'll try to render it. And as you can see, now we have two different icons being displayed. You can take icons randomly or you can search for them as well. So yeah, I wanted to give you the basic concept on how you can use different icons by using NPM. Now, you can simply use CDN like what we used to do in JavaScript, but since we're using React.js now, that's why we're following this structure. Okay, so this was the benefit of using NPM. You don't have to write the script again and again. You just have to install the dependencies in package.json file. Alright, and now on to the next lecture.